Today's topic, teaching.
Dominance over a classroom, but it's the really simple basic things that can completely wear out a teacher. Now, people that are not familiar with how modern schools work will just say, well, that student should just get in trouble. But that's the problem. In modern education, there really is no way for students to get in trouble for the most part. There's been these kind of wacky Pollyanna discipline theories that really kind of have gotten rid of things like detention or suspension or even missing recess or anything that people used to do in the past to kind of be a deterrent to bad behavior.
She's spot on, by the way. And the thing is, you could do a referral to your administrator. But let me tell you something about teaching. And I was a teacher in Georgia, public school. That is a job where doing what you're told will get you fired. And by the way, if you think you're going to teach because you want to teach or you want somebody to learn something, you're in the wrong business. If you want to educate somebody, you don't do it as a teacher in a Georgia public school.
Students are really in a position where they really don't have any kind of consequences that are impeding their desire to do whatever they want. Other people would say, well, why don't you just let that student fail if they're not interested in learning? But in modern education, teachers actually get in trouble when students fail.
That is so true. I can't say it enough. Okay, you've got, let's face it, you've got insane administrators, you got bad parents. If you go as a teacher, you want to make the job as easy as possible because you ain't getting paid worth a dog diddly poo.
When would be a good time for me to come into school to breastfeed my son? No, ma'am.
Parents are like that. Yeah, these are totally believable. I was a teacher, and yeah, parent requests, yeah, this is right on target.
Could you provide a private place for my son at school so he can pleasure himself if he needs to? My son.
Yeah, and that's the way the parents are. That's the way they think. And there's no such thing as asking something that's too ridiculous. Okay?
Driving a school bus stinks. It's one snot-faced brat after another screaming in my ear, defecating in the back seat.
Working for these jokers. And this is the type of jackass you're going to work for.
Okay, you need to be prepared if you're a new teacher or if you're going into teaching, or maybe you haven't been teaching very long.
This is a Georgia public school administrator. He's retired. You need to be prepared. This is on you. You got a problem, teacher. This is on you. He's going to make ridiculous demands. He's going to say you can't fail any students. You can't discipline them. You can't bother this guy. Look, when I was a teacher, I was a ghost. Okay? I came in there, I taught, I left, and the administration, man, they hardly knew I was there. They didn't hear from me or anything.
You need to be prepared to work hard.
No, you need to be prepared to put up with a lot of bullshit. That doesn't add up to dry dog shit.
Okay, you need to work hard. It's going to be a hard job.
It's a hard job putting
up
with this nonsense.
Today are not used to working very hard.
Okay, that's their attitude. Well, you just don't like to work hard. You're a lazy bum. And the administrators, you think the students hate you as a teacher? These administrators hate you.
Even 30, 40 years ago, and we're just not used to getting hot and sweating and all that, and working. So, but teaching obviously is not a job where you're necessarily going to be getting hot and sweating and all.
And he makes it sound like it's an easy job, but you got to work hard if you want to make it work. No, that's actually bullshit. You want to make the job as easy as possible. Okay, quite frankly, as a teacher. And these guys are going to load you up with a lot of horse shit that you're going to have to fill out in forms. Hey, guys, that's why you have computers and copy and paste, okay? Because these guys will come up with some BS demands.
I didn't do this when I first started teaching. I didn't understand why this was a good idea. But as I got older, this became my norm. I would get to work a good hour before.
Okay, now this is actually good advice. One of the things he says is, as a teacher, you should get to work early because you have some quiet time to yourself. You can get a lot of work done, a lot of preparation done. He's spot on with that. Okay, that I agree with. Okay, get to work early. Now, I always did it because I wanted to beat the traffic. I didn't want to put up with all the traffic or anything like that. Sometimes I'd stop by, get some gas, maybe pick up a few snacks to eat for breakfast. I always brought my lunch. I would eat my lunch in the classroom during lunchtime without any students, with the doors locked. Even if they put me on lunch duty, I would never show up. Nothing ever happened. I never showed up to lunch duty. Nothing ever happened. Yeah, you want to be out of sight, out of mind, and you don't want to raise any red flags to cause attention.
Other people, and a lot of people they have this mentality that teaching is a 40-hour-a-week job, and you get there when it's time for you to be there, and you leave and you can't do that.
Coming to work early is actually pretty good, though. I mean, yeah, you're not going to get paid for it, but it is kind of nice to relax and organize and take care of a few things. And you can actually get ahead of things, you know. If they send you a lot of BS, a lot of times you have to ignore it. And then if they get on your case, then you have to, you know, come up with something. Again, copy and paste. And if you think that you're going to teach, you're in the wrong line of work, because you're not going to. And that's where teachers come, you know, get into trouble. They're trying to teach something. You've got an untenable situation. Admit it. Public schools are untenable situations for education.
You're not going to get finished what you need to get finished. Some days you might be able to do that, and then some days you need not punching a time clock. So that's one thing you need to realize. But I would get there an hour before everybody else.
That's pretty
good.
good
And the reason
advice.
I did that was because nobody would bother me.
Yeah.
I could get more done in that hour than I could ever imagine getting done during school or after school. Because after school, I'd have all these people coming into my office. You'd have parents wanting to come in and see you and stuff like that. But if you get there an hour before time, and they're just 30 minutes, but get there early, because you're going to get more work done, and you really want to be ready for the day, and then leave on time. Another thing is that
leave on time. That's good. Or shortly after. Maybe give the students a chance to get the heck out of the parking lot, because those students, the way they drive, I mean, forget about it. But you do want to leave as soon as possible. When it's time to go, you want to get the hell out of there. Okay, realize this. These are my points as an ex-public school teacher in Georgia public school. You are not there to teach. Anybody who says different is a damn fool or a liar. This guy was an administrator. Let me give you another point. No administrator will ever back you up ever on anything at any time. Administrators will not back up their teachers, and they will fire you. And they will fire you in front of the class without notice, and they'll fire you in the middle of class. Okay, you cannot punish students. You're just going to have to deal with it. If a student is a problem, you have to handle it yourself. Don't ask for help. Don't bother other teachers, because then they'll complain on you, and that's a red flag. You cannot fail your students, okay? You don't fail your students. You pass them all regardless. They didn't do the work. You're not there to teach, jackass.
this, whatever it is you plan on doing, I don't care what it is, it needs to be planned out where it is the fastest and easiest way to do it.
That is good advice.
Don't ever overcomplicate things.
Very good advice. Keep it simple, keep it easy.
Don't make anything harder than it needs to be. Make it the easiest and the fastest you can possibly make it.
Sound
when I started
advice.
teaching, back in the 80s, Well, I coached 3 sports. I was a brand new teacher. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm coaching 3 sports. I had to leave immediately after school every day. I mean, I was so busy. And I had to learn real quick that if it was something that took a long time, I wasn't going to be able to do it. Okay? When it came to lesson plans and stuff that I had to grade and things like that, don't overcomplicate it. If there's an easy way to do it the easy way.
Let me tell you the easy way to do it. Homework, don't give any. Boom, problem solved. Grades, hey, you don't post grades late, okay? You post grades on time. Hell, give everybody an A. Nobody complains. No parents complain. No parent-teacher conferences, okay? None of that. Pass them all. Who cares? You're there to draw a check and nothing more. And that's really all it's about, okay? It's not about education. Anybody who says otherwise is a damn liar, okay? And this administrator, do you think he's going to back up a teacher? Do you think he's got anyone's back? Not a chance. But he is given some good advice. Go early, you get a lot of stuff done. That is true. Don't complicate things. Like, again, when it comes to homework, I don't give any. Okay, problem solved. Tests, yeah, you give some tests, you give some classwork. Do you grade it? No, because it doesn't matter. You're going to give them an A anyway, so what difference does it make? Problem solved.
This is going to make your life so much better.
I agree with this guy totally.
I mean, if the fastest way to grade a test, I knew how to, whatever the fastest way was, that's what I did.
And what he did is he probably just didn't grade it. He probably just gave an A. Obviously, he's not going to admit that, but let's face it. That's, work smarter, not harder.
Whatever the fastest way was to grade student work, that's what I did. If I didn't have time to grade it, I didn't assign it. I didn't assign things that were hard for me to grade.
Bingo.
Now, was I assessing their learning? Yeah, you can assess their learning without making things complicated for you. You just got to be smart.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be working. I mean, you're going to be working full time from the time you get there to the time you leave. You're going to be busy.
Yeah.
So don't make it where you can't get stuff done. I mean, you don't ever want to be in a situation where you turn stuff in late.
Nope.
You don't ever want to be in a situation where you're showing up late to the meetings, or you're missing things, or you're whatever.
No.
Because you're so busy, you can't do the rest of your job. Don't do things that are not necessary.
A lot of teachers do things. A lot of things are not necessary, and you're required to do them, like meetings, stuff like that. You cannot do that and educate students in this environment. You have an untenable situation. Hey, like I said, if you are there to teach and educate, you're going to end up quitting. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be on Xanax. You're going to be miserable as hell. So you have to have that don't give a shit attitude. And this guy's got it. He doesn't say that, but let's face it. You need to have that don't give a shit attitude. And then everything's pretty, it's real easy. It's fine. Life is good.
Even if they seem really cool. Even if they seem really fun. Even if they seem like, oh, the kids will look. You got to have time to grade it, okay? I would have teachers when I was an administrator. And, it would be, the 9 weeks grading period ends today at 12 o'clock, And you'd have people scrambling around. I never did that. I always had my grades ready. Before I went home every day, all of my grades were up to date. I never left anything ungraded on my desk on any day. I never went home with things to grade in 30 years. Okay, so I'm just telling you, that can be done.
And it can be done, but you got to keep it really easy. And trying to teach them something new, wrong attitude.
You just have to fix it to where that's how you operate, okay? And what happened is I would have people that would not have their grades finished. And it's time. I mean, we're giving out report cards. The report cards are getting published tomorrow. And I never understood that. And they would tell me things like here I am, I'm an administrator. They'd be like, well, I just didn't have time to grade. I gave this project, and every one of them took me an hour and a half to grade, and I got all these kids, and I'm like, well, why did you give it to them?
Yeah.
If you didn't have time to grade it, why did you make that assignment? I mean, I want you to think about that before you give any assignment.
The reason teachers do that is because they're trying to teach something. They're trying to educate. That's why they do it.
The first thing that ought to occur in your head is how long is it going to take me to grade this? And, how much of the kid's going to learn. I don't care how cute it is. I don't care how fun it is. I don't care how much of the kid's going to learn, for the amount of time it takes to grade. Now, if it takes you a long time to grade, but it better be something they learned a whole lot. I mean, it better be something they just knocked out of the...
I know I had to cover for another teacher, and then the grades were due, and the teacher didn't turn in the grades, and it was time to post grades. Easy fix. Everybody got an A. Done. And the student said, but we're not learning anything. Well, no shit, you're not learning anything. You're in a public school. Duh.
Part, because you don't have time to spend 45 minutes on every assessment you give for each kid. You can't do that. And I would never feel any sympathy for those people when they would say stuff, well, I've been grading this stuff. It's taken me 4 days to grade it. And I'm thinking, if you gave something that took 4 days to grade, that's your fault.
Yep.
Now, if you're a literature teacher and you have to give things and they have to be written and you have to go over it in detail, then you need to organize your, the way that you give assignments and the way that you grade in a way that takes that into account.
The English teachers, they stopped teaching literature. I mean, these reading books, they just stopped that. I mean, that's no longer the case. When I was going to high school, yeah, you had to read books, not anymore.
Okay, you better take that into account because that will get you in the long run. And you're doing a bunch of hard work. I can't tell you how many times I saw people just working themselves to death. But it was so inefficient and it was such a waste of time that they couldn't do the things they needed to do. The things that were the most important they couldn't do because they're working themselves to a frenzy over something that's not important. So every assignment you give, everything you do, every lesson you plan, every way that you do something, if there is an easier way to do it the easier way.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, I'm not talking about being lazy.
Actually, you need to be lazy. The best solution is be smart and lazy. Yeah, be lazy.
And just throwing grades out there.
Yeah,
I'm
throw
talking
the grades
about
out there.
Doing legitimate grading.
No.
But you have got to figure out what works for you. I knew what worked for me and how I could grade stuff. And my grades were accurate reflection of whether or not the kids...
Okay, there's no legitimate grading because there's no legitimate teaching.